Hello everyone, this is Lottie from Cancer as a Lifestyle. Today is a beautiful sunny day. Quite unlike what we had yesterday, we actually had some snow. Now, I no longer live in Chicago itself, I live in the suburbs, and out here it is not like Chicago where they plow and salt and anything. It's just, they were quite not ready for this snow that we had, but we didn't have a lot. But it made the roads a little different, right? It made it, slippery and all. But today the sun is out and it is shining and melting everything away. Okay, today I wanted to talk about some of the scans and doctor visits and all that I've had to do the last couple of days. But before that, let me show you something really cool that I got yesterday. I was working yesterday, doing some overtime on a Saturday, and one of the ladies I work with, she is Philippine, and she actually gave me something from the Philippines, and I want to share it with you. This is a Philippine cracker. This is their version of our saltine crackers, but instead of the salt, it is actually coated in sugar. And the wafer itself is really thin, and I'm telling you, it's really cute. I mean, it's delicious too. I wouldn't think of it like a savory cracker to eat or anything. I would think of it like almost a dessert, kind of like graham crackers are. But it was really neat to try something different from other cultures, and I love doing that. I like diversity. I love eating different foods and interacting with different cultures altogether. I love it. I love different music. Remember, I like Mexican music. Well, anyway, I wanted to talk about is, now I've told you before that I used to go every 3 months for all my tests and all my, visits, my medical, and I have stage 3 ovarian cancer. I went for about 10 and a half years. I've gone with going every 3 months, like regular. I mean, it can become really like tiresome having to go. And I was actually I was promoted last year to actually go in every 6 months. I call it a promotion because I consider that a promotion. You get really tired of going to every 3 months and sitting in a waiting room. It's like the waiting room becomes your lifestyle almost. You're sitting there forever. So, but I've noticed that in the last 2 years or so, every time I go, the waiting rooms are a lot fuller. I've noticed that there's a lot more people. There's a longer line. You could have an appointment, but it like doesn't even matter. There's 3 other people for that same time. It's really crowded now. So I went for my very first test I did was at the end of December. I happened to be off from work, and I usually am at that time. I take on the majority of my vacation at the end of the year for Christmas, so I'm usually off like 3 weeks in December or so. And if a lot of you wonder how am I able to do that, well, it's called seniority. I'm over 23 years in the company that I work for, so I am able to do that. I've earned it. But anyway, so I went for my mammogram, and again, I consider that to be like, what is it, like 15-minute test, you basically more or less, and I was there like 2.5 hours just to do this mammogram, and it was just a basic mammogram. It was not, the more intensive one. Now, I never passed my basic mammogram test ever. I just don't, and it all has to do with one of my breasts, and I just don't. So there was a time where they would just, they gave up on giving me the screening, the basic screening mammogram, and they would always give me the intensive one instead. And this went on for quite a while, quite a few years, because it actually saves me a lot of time, because I have the regular one, I fail it, then I have to go, but for the more intensive one. Well, that's all changed in the last I would say about 2 years. A lot of things have changed in the healthcare within the last couple of years, and the insurance does not want to pay anymore for the more intensive one unless there's probable cause. So, of course, they consider probable causes if you actually have a lump already, or you're in, you have pain of some sort where you could be having, that you're more liable to have breast cancer. Well, having said that, I go for my regular mammogram screening. I already know it's nothing new to me for the results to be, well, you need to go, you failed that, and you need to go for a more intensive scan. Well, I knew that. I could have told everybody that. This is the way I am, and I have been. I don't think I've ever passed a regular mammogram, never. And so that was my first. That was my first. What's the word I want to call it? Frustration, because I feel very frustrated this time around going to my doctor appointments. Now, mind you, my company has a new owner, so we have a new name. So starting January, ended up with new insurance, which I knew this was going to be a problem since the other 3 of my appointments happened to be right now in January. And I thought this might be a problem. I still don't have my medical card. Hello, and health insurance, right? It's such a pain. You spend so much money on this, and yet, we don't have that. I don't feel like health insurance nowadays covers you in the way that it did years ago. You had a safety net that, I have insurance, I'm paying for it, I'm covered, I'm good. I don't believe it's like that anymore. I feel that they are getting really picky about what they're doing, and they don't want to pay for a lot of things. It's almost like home insurance. When I used to own a home, and I had to pay home insurance, and I mean, like, I never collected on home insurance. I paid it regularly. And then one time I collected on it, and then boom, they raised my rates. And I thought, here I am, a good client for how many years? One time. That's how I feel health insurance is nowadays. So anyway, so my next thing I had to do is I had to go in for my, I had the next appointment it was actually in the very first week of January, and it was my colonoscopy. Actually, it was my colonoscopy. Now, this is my second one. I did a vlog about it if you wanted to hear more about, my colonoscopy and, but so I actually did a vlog on it. So I went, and I don't have my card. I printed out my temporary ID that you can go on your insurance website, and they'll print out your ID. You can print out the ID. So I took that with me. I thought I was going to have a problem because, you're going to be put under, you're going to have, but I had no problem whatsoever. Just took a half an hour longer for her to, put all the information in, to get everything. Now, first of all, I forgot to mention to all of you is that I go to a hospital clinic. I do everything in my hospital. I don't go to a privately owned doctor or anything. I go to a hospital to take care of all my needs. So I can go anywhere in a hospital. They'll pull up my file, and they know everything that's been done to me in the last 10 years. Okay? So I go, they have the information in there, no problem. I go have my colonoscopy, I come home, everything's fine, no problem whatsoever. 2 days later, I have to go in for my CT scan. You see, this is like I said, every 6 months, and this is, all these visits happen to fall in at one time, 1 month. It's actually never happened like that before. The most I've ever had was 2 at one time, but here I am. So I'm doing my oncology, my CT scan. So, the day before or so, I get, all these phone messages from the hospital, from registration, and, we need to contact you, showing that you don't have any insurance, blah, blah, blah. Well, of course not, because for some reason, even though I had a colonoscopy done, and it should have been already in the system, it still showed my old insurance. So when they would try to, for a CT scan, they tried to put in for it already, it showed denied because I don't have the insurance anymore. So no problem. I called them back. I gave him all the information. He entered it in. This is registration now. And he informed me, okay, Ms. Krol, everything is fine. It went through. You are good to go for your CT scan in 2 days. So I go, okay. Again, the night before, I got off at like 12:30. I was working 10-hour day that day. I came home, and I had a couple messages actually, from the CT scan department, the radiology, saying that, Ms. Krol, there's a problem with your insurance. You might have to sign a financial waiver responsibility. And I'm thinking, please call us. Well, it's 12:30 at night. I don't use my phone at work. I'm not allowed to use my phone at work. So I did not know that, but I'm thinking, okay, for some reason I thought to myself, and this is part of my fault. What happened next is because I just assumed, since it was new insurance, that um, okay, they didn't register it's not showing up my new insurance. That even though I just took care of that twice now, that and I'm just gonna show him like the card, the printout, and it'll be fine, no problem. But in my defense, and I'm going to take ownership of this, but in my defense, no way did they ever tell me that my scan was impending. And if they had said that, I wouldn't have even bothered coming out. So I get up in the morning. Again, I get up, all my appointments I always do early in the morning because I work a second shift. I've always worked a second shift, which is like 2:30 to 10:30 at night. So I like to take care of all my, hospital visits or whatever I have to do. I do it in the morning and I schedule it very early. So mind you, I'm fasting again because I was fasting earlier for the colonoscopy. So I'm fasting again, no coffee, no nothing. And I'm driving out an hour, takes me an hour because it's rush hour traffic to as close to downtown Chicago as you can go. And I'm going down there and okay, I get there and they're telling me that my scan has not been approved. And I'm thinking, well, what do you mean? It's not approved. My insurance went through how many times? I've used it already. Everything went fine. And they go, yes, but this new insurance requires approval for your CT scan. And it's still pending. It has not gone through yet. And, but you can have this test and sign the financial responsibility. Well, I said, absolutely not. Am I signing no financial responsibility? And actually, I was not very nice to her. And I was a little irritated. It's not her fault. And I apologize. I shouldn't have been. And I felt really bad for being a crabby patient. It's not her fault that this is the way it is. And I kind of left. And I said, you know what? No, I'm leaving. Goodbye. And I went. And yeah, I'm going to tell you why I did not sign the financial responsibility. Because one, I feel I am paying for insurance. I've been paying for insurance. I have worked in this company for over 23 years. I have been paying insurance for as long as I can remember. I mean, seriously. Second of all, this has happened once before where one of my tests was pending, and it was pending and would not get approved, and it did not get approved. So I did not want to, I already knew that there was a question then, and most likely it might not get approved. Now, before I used to do CT scans, I used to religiously have PET scans. And PET scans, if you don't know what they are cancer scans. They're just for cancer. And this happened once before with my old insurance where suddenly they did not approve it and was pending for days and it didn't get approved. And because insurance would not pay for a PET scan anymore, they claimed that a CT scan is just as good as a PET scan, which of course it isn't. But they want the cheaper version. So that's how I ended up. So I knew right away that, oh no, something's going on here. I feel like, especially if it's still pending, okay, it's still pending to this day right now. It's pending. I have not heard anything back. It's still pending. So my doctor's going to have to be, again, pushing this thing and arguing that this is her problem now. I'm trying to prove that this is probable cause that I need to have a CT scan done. Because that's probably most likely what it is now you have to have probable cause for a lot of things for insurance to pay for. So basically they will pay for your screenings, what they call preventive screenings. Now, if you have worked for a lot of companies now, and I talked about this more in my blog that I did on preventive care. A lot of companies now offer like incentives for you to join this well-being, along where you you exercise more. Like ours was actually where like if we had all our screenings down, we were able to earn like extra $400 a year if we had like our biometric screening, or if we had our mammogram, or if you went to your GP for your yearly visit, they will give you like money points. And you could use that towards paying some of your medical. So you could use up to $400. And one of them happened to be the colonoscopy too. So when I thought to myself, why did they pay for? Why was the colonoscopy no problem, but everything else was a problem where it's pending? Because colonoscopy and the regular mammogram screening is part of preventive care, and it seems to me like the health insurance will pay for preventive care, but they will not pay for. So I am actually in limbo right now. I cannot go to my visit number 4 because I did not have my visit number 3 done. So it's always been religiously where, um, I would have my CT scan done, and a week later I go see my oncologist. She would go over the results with me, and then we would take it from there. And while I'm there, I would even go do my labs. So you see, right now I had like 4 appointments within a month of each other. Well, actually, no, I would say about 2 weeks with each other, not even a month, excuse me. And not 2 weeks, 3. And I only got one done. One of them I did, but I failed. I got a redo. Another one I was able to do the colonoscopy and I passed it beautifully, and I don't have to do it again for 10 years. But the other 2, it got shut down, canceled, rescheduled. I don't know when. I have no idea. It is very frustrating because I will never again, I have learned my lesson, that will I schedule all these appointments at one time. This is actually the first time that it felt where I was going almost every couple of days. I'm going to a doctor. So never again will I do it where I'm boom at one time. I took off work because now you cannot no longer just go in and out of a doctor's office like an hour. You spend, I mean, a mammogram took 2.5 hours of my time. And that's just there. It didn't even include the ride back, the hour ride back, and the hour, to there. So I'm just really frustrated right now, but I'm okay. All right. I'm not going to be, losing sleep over this or anything. I feel good. I don't feel, but then, since I've been going regularly at my scheduled appointments all the time, I don't miss it, that even when it did come back the other times, I was feeling good and all, and I was fine because they caught it early enough right away whenever there was a little shift. So when you go every 3 months, you catch it right away. When there's a difference in your blood levels, or or if my CT scan even my tumor started to grow a little bit or whatever, it'd be caught right away. So that's the that's the update on my medical right now. I am in limbo. I don't know if they're going to what's going to happen next week. Maybe they will approve it and they'll tell me to come in. I'm not sure. I do know that my doctor's going, my oncologist is going on vacation in a week. So if anything doesn't happen now, it's going to happen next month. So, but then, what do they say? No news is good news. So I'm fine. I'm not worried about it in any way. When our time is here and when our time is up, it's up. Okay, there's no negotiating. But anyway, so this is my update on Sunday. This is Sunday. Oh my goodness, it's already like afternoon over here, and it's my only day off. Sunday is church. Sunday is right now, because of our busy schedule, my daughter's working overtime today. Can you believe this? And yeah, so everybody's kind of busy. So I just got back from shopping with my mom, doing our grocery shopping, and I'm doing this quick video before I have to start dinner, and yeah, and then kind of just taking it easy. It's our only Sunday off, our only day off today. So I am going to show you a quick thing what I'm doing today after, because I never really talk about this, a part of my ministry. Here I am talking about ministry again. So, about my homeless mats. So I showed a couple years back, I took our ladies to, I wanted to do show them how to make homeless mats. There was this organization that was making homeless mats. There was a whole group of women that were doing it nonstop, and then once a year they would donate to the homeless shelters. So I wanted us to learn how to do that. I thought it would be cool to learn how to do a different craft. So we would do sometimes things like that. Like we learned how to do arm knitting. It was really interesting. But so, but somehow the ladies, none of them really liked doing the homeless mats. So I am the only one that does the homeless mats. I enjoy them. I love them. And I think was it last year or 2 years ago I decided to do take 4 months and to see how many mats I can make in 4 months and then donate them. And I donated, I think I made 24 mats. Now the problem is I ended up hurting my wrist and my hand from all that uh, working with the big hooks and the plastic, and I ended up hurting my hand. And so I was going to stop making them because I could see that my hand hurt. My arthritis set in this hand and all, but I cannot stop it. And I'm going to tell you why, because I know this may sound crazy to you, but where we donate them to this shelter, I could go in there almost every day and bring in mats, and they will literally take them out of my hands. That's how great of a need they have for these homeless mats. So every time I say I'm going to stop, or this is, I'm not going to make any more, it's harder to get plastic. People have to pay for their plastic bags at the grocery store. So, it's not that easy anymore to, get plastic. And you have to be kind of creative in what you use then instead. So the last time when I made I'm not going to make them anymore. These are the last 4 I'm going to donate. And one of my girls, Cindy, she does a lot of deliveries for me. And she went to go in and she's like, they just like took it out of her hands, those 4 mats, and they were like, oh, we needed this, we've been looking for this. And so the need is there, and as long as there is the need for them, I'm going to keep making them. So I have to be more creative now in how I come across this plastic. So besides the fact that everybody I know that has plastic and I see them, they give me plastic bags all the time. But at work, I work in a manufacturing plant, and we get these bags right here. I'm going to show you. Look at this bag I brought, and it's full of plastic bags. And these are the large bags, but they're pink, and that's why I took them. And these actually line the boxes that our components come in. And by components, I mean jars and lids and pumps and bottles and whatever. And I use them. They're really nice. They're perfect. I cut them a little smaller than you would an actual grocery bag. And so they're a little thinner because they're sturdy. Yeah, they're very sturdy. So this is what I'm going to be doing. I have a whole big bag here, and I'm going to be cutting up the plastic bags and making yarn out of them. And also, because I saw my mom today, she also had a whole shopping bag of plastic bags for me too. So I'm going to be doing this. I will tell you, making the yarn for them is actually more labor intensive than making the mat. And once you get the bow of yarn that you need, it's just really fast. It goes really fast and all. So, but actually the cutting and the, binding it together and all. So another thing I use for the mats that I found is really good, because I have to kind of experiment with what will work and what won't, is I use the vinyl tablecloths for the parties and all those, the plastic, but you have to cut them a lot smaller because they're thicker. So I've noticed that when you use thicker plastic, you cut them smaller. It's not as wide. It's more smaller strips, because they will come out bulky if you stick with the actual. Normally you cut them. It's about this size when you do your grocery bags. When you cut them into yarn, you have the width. It's about this much. And because they're thinner, so you need to cut them more so they're sturdier. And other things that I've used that work really well, I practiced with them, I experimented, is like your plastic bags from breads. They actually work really well, and yeah, they work really well. So I've been using those things too, or from Rose when you buy them and you got the nice plastic bag. Those work too. So that's why I get a little creative and they work really well. So I have a big bag, I have a whole big shopping bag, and believe it or not, it's going to take me quite a little bit. Sometimes when I'm doing a lot of cutting, my wrist will start to hurt from the cutting constantly. I'm cutting. But so yeah, this is going to be my evening project, and it's going to take up the majority of my time. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Oh, wait a minute. What am I forgetting again? Alzheimer's. Which, I should tell you about that. You know, okay, I'm going to tell you, I wanted to tell you, okay, so I have two brothers, and I actually grew up um, not in a very, what's the way I want to say it, feminine environment. So while other little girls were watching like princesses and Disney, Cinderella and things like that, since I am right in the middle, I have an older brother and a younger brother, it was always, we were watching like Go Go Speed Racer, and the Dirty Dozen, and just like a lot of boys movies and action figures. So I grew up like on, like watching the martial arts and movies and stuff like that. I didn't see Cinderella, the Disney Cinderella, till I wasn't an adult with a child. Can you believe that? That was my very first time that I've ever seen a Disney princess movie. I've never been around that, where my brothers kind of took over the TV and this is what they were watching. So I used to watch like a lot of the martial arts movies and action, so I grew up loving like Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Dirty Dozen, and I used to watch all of these stuff, and I liked it. I loved it, and Go Go Speed Racer was my my favorite one. Yeah, and I had a big crush on that cartoon character, let me tell you. But anyway, uh, thanks for making me smile and remember that funny part of my life. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Comment below. Hit the like button. The usual stuff. I need to get a sign like a lot of the ladies. A lot of people have like a sign in the back with that. So I don't have to keep saying it. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Bye-bye.